Alright, let's do this one last time. My name is Suzuka Nakamoto. I was hand-chosen by a radioactive producer, and for 15 years, I've been the one and only Su-Metal. I'm pretty sure you know the rest. I sang with a bunch of people, fell in love with cheeseburgers, rocked the city, and then I rocked the city again. And again, and again, and again. And I did this. We don't really talk about this. I'm a cartoon, an 8-bit album, I have an excellent theme song, and a so-so ramen noodle. I mean, I've looked worse. But after everything, I still love being Su-Metal. I mean, who wouldn't? So no matter how many hits I take, I always find a way to come back. Because the only thing standing between metal music and oblivion is me. There's only one Su-Metal. And you're looking at it. Just kidding. I'm not Su-Metal, but all that stuff I said about Su-Metal is indeed true. Su-Metal, you know, the lead singer for Babymetal, that metal group that has been breaking down doors and barriers for 15 years, sailing over oceans and soaring across time zones to deliver the best type of metal performance anyone has seen. If you are a new fan of Babymetal like I am, then you know that there's tons of history and tons of lore that can feel overwhelming to chomp down on. If you have seen my other Everything About videos, then hopefully you already know a lot about Moa-metal and Momo-metal. But what about Su-Metal? Well, while fans pick favorites between their favorite purveyors of scream and dance, there is no denying that the most important cog in the Babymetal machine is Su-Metal. Babymetal may be quickly dominating our screens and concert venues the world over, featuring in TV shows and selling out stadiums, but that all falls apart without Su-Metal. Inarguably the one member of Babymetal the show cannot go on without. But why, you may be asking me on the other side of this screen? What makes Suzuka Nakamoto so special and so irreplaceable? How can someone like myself, a metal music veteran of 30 years, come across someone new in 2024 and deem that person their absolute favorite singer? Well, don't worry folks, as you have come to expect, today we are going to sit down and look back to discuss the history of Suzuka Nakamoto, her journey to Babymetal, and what her legacy has come to be in the 15 years since her band has spawned into existence. Stick around, because afterward we will do some fun fact trivia and even discuss some poll data from real-life Babymetal fans. So set your bag down, get comfy, and grab some ginger tea because in honor of the Queen in the East's birthday, we gotta go back to the beginning. December 20th, 1997, 28 years ago. On December 20th, 1997, on a cool winter day with no rain and no rainbow, Nakamoto Suzuka was born at a hospital in Hiroshima Prefecture, Japan. Her version of the name Suzuka literally means something similar to sweet-smelling bell or wind chime, and has been theorized as being inspired by A Bird and a Bell and I, by Kaneko Misuzu. Suzuka is the daughter of Chu Nakamoto, who played in the rock band called The Hooligans. And while we don't know much about one of Suzuka's two sisters, her older sister, Himeka, is a former member of Nogisaka 46. So yeah, you could say that being a musician and performer runs in the family. I also think it's really heartwarming that her mother works with gemstones and has been said to occasionally gift gemstone accessories to the Babymetal members. It really makes me want to score the internet for Babymetal photos back when they had to source their outfits from home, before they had money for extravagant battle armor. Maybe there's a Mama Nakamoto accessory hiding out there somewhere. By all available sources, Suzuka began her career younger than any other Babymetal member, with sources citing her being 3 years old when she began modeling. Before we move on, just know that lots of Suzuka's life has been reported on, but inconsistencies abound across sources when it comes to timeframes, so I will be approximate for some of those timeframes. So around the age 4 or 5, Suzuka won first place in the jewel drop fashion contest called Image Girl, and was featured in their commercials. The only date source I could find places this around 2003, which was around the same time she joined Ash. But not the guy who fights Deadite spawned from the Necronomicon. I'm talking about the Actors School of Hiroshima, a school that does not offer any classes on how to graft a chainsaw to your forearm. I checked. Now, while attending Ash, Suzuka won the all-park scholarship audition to pay for 1 year's tuition, which was offered to promising students at the school. So Suzuka was not only showing promise at an early age, but proved to be more promising than 14 other auditioners in 2006 at the age of 8. Further exemplifying herself, shortly afterward during a soloist audition called the Spring Act 2007, Suzuka sang Hikaru Michi. Other notable things that occurred during Suzuka's time at ASH? Well, her sister was there at school with her, and they performed together while there, calling themselves Tween. Suzuka also had something of a musical rivalry with Riho Sayashi, who fans will recognize as the future Babymetal Avenger. She has her own solo J-pop career these days, so if you want to go check her out and compare their voices, you can decide who wins that rivalry.
Alright, Gunpachiro Kamapoko, I'm gonna bring you down!
Who are you talking about?
You, of course!
No, you're not!
Excuse me! Could you keep it down, please?
But honestly, aren't the real winners here the fans? So Suzuka had been attending the school, honing her talents as a performer, and in 2007, yet another audition held by talent agency Amuse set in motion what is likely the most important seed planted in Suzuka's journey, as the audition got her signed as a talent with Amuse. Suzuka was not yet done with her training, as she would stay with ASH for another 5 years. But it was time to put her skills to the test anyway, with a very established industry agency in Tokyo. So Suzuka starts working with Amuse, while still attending school in Hiroshima, and in 2008, Zettai Karen Children, the anime show, needed a theme song. In comes Amuse, bringing in Suzuka Nakamoto alongside Sayaka Kitahara and Ayami Muto. These are the Karen Girls, the only time anyone would ever call Suzuka Nakamoto a Karen. And even though this group was formed for the sole purpose of singing anime songs and disbanded after 1 year, that doesn't take away how influential they were. Not just for Suzuka's own future, but the future of others as well. In fact, some have stated that Karen Girls' music legitimately got them through some hard times. So I'm not saying Suzuka's voice can cure cancer, but if singing could cure cancer, then you bet your ass Suzuka would be on the job. So as I said, Suzuka's first 3-girl ensemble, known as Karen Girls, disbanded after a year in March 2009. Which means Suzuka Nakamoto began and ended a whole J-pop group a few months before Lady Gaga released Poker Face, and before I even managed to finish high school. Also that year, they found Ice on the Moon, and Twitter exploded into popularity. Not to be confused by the hellscape known as X. This is not Twitter. I don't know him. Also, Michael Jackson was still alive when Karen Girls disbanded. This will be the end of the random trivia segment related to the year that Karen Girls disbanded. Now, if you're a Babymetal fan or in fandoms on its periphery, then you likely know that there are cherry blossoms in Suzuka's future. But before we get there, a couple other things she did leading up to it from 2009 to 2010. She was an exclusive model for Dia Daisy fashion magazine for young girls. She played Shioji in the musical Boken Shatachi The Adventures. In 2010, she reprised her role in ASH's spring production singing this song. So Amuse woke up one morning and, I imagine, said to themselves verbatim exactly this. Why the fuck don't we have a school-themed girl group comprised of junior high school-aged transient members who take part in subunits during their simulated school days and who can all graduate one day to make room for more members, perpetuating an endless cycle of young idols while also making them better people in general called super ladies that we can televise in the hopes that it will one day live forever on YouTube? We don't already have that, do we? So yeah, for the uninitiated, this is the inception of Sakura Gakuin, which once again, I will refer to as SG. There are other videos out there that go way more into depth with SG than I will here, but it was essentially an idol group run by a muse that had junior high school age girls as members for a few years until they graduated in real life and from SG, making room for new younger idol members to come in and learn the trade. I tend to think of it as kind of like a idol summer camp that lasts all year. That seems a lot more fun than some other metaphor like boarding school or boot camp. Now, Suzuka Nakamoto was a founding member of SG, the OG. I had some trouble pinning down when Momo joined SG, but not Suzuka. Her giggly Yeba smile was there from the beginning. Now, while being an idol group itself, SG also served as a hub for other smaller projects, and when SG was conceived, one of the producers of the group also had an idea for one of the subunits within SG. This is where Kei Kobayashi comes into the picture. He's the producer we're talking about here, and the person who you owe your body, mind, and soul to if you feel the same way about Babymetal as the rest of us. This dude, this unassuming, older metalhead dude, had a wild idea. See, he was in the J-pop business because it paid the bills and all, but his true passion was metal music. And if his company wasn't going to get him to work with his favorite metal bands, he thought, okay then, we'll just make our own metal right here in the idol scene. Because honestly, why the hell not? So, Mr. Kobayashi, or Koba-metal, as we know him now, specifically handpicked Suzuka Nakamoto for his project, known as the Heavy Metal Club. He had already thought that an entire project could be built around Suzuka due to her talent and charisma in front of a crowd, and now he had his project for her. But you can't have a club with one member. And more literally, Koba's idea specifically required 2 other members to back up Suzuka and make a complete trio dance unit. Now, I already have a video about one of them, and maybe I'll make one about the other on her birthday. Who knows? But just know for this video that by all available data that I have seen, Koba literally picked the 2 girls based on little else except the following criteria. The girls needed to be smaller than Sue, and they needed to be about the same size as each other. Because, you know, symmetry. People like symmetry. So in came Moa and Yui, aforementioned not really but kinda twin idol girls who had no background in metal music at all. But neither did Suzuka. But big deal, right? We all started somewhere, and Suzuka has paid more respect to metal music than anyone on planet Earth, and probably has a throne waiting for her sitting right next to Ozzy Osbourne in the great beyond. So Suzuka, along with her new entourage, became known as the Heavy Metal Club, a subgroup of SG, and also lovingly coined Babymetal. Commonly mistaken to be a reference to how young the girls were, but no. In fact, it is wordplay of heavy metal due to the pronunciation in Japanese. It is also known to be a term for a new genre being born. So go ahead and throw out all those misguided comments of people saying,
they aren't little girls anymore, so the concept or the name of Babymetal is flawed.
So the Heavy Metal Club became, for the time being at least, one of the many subgroups within SG, and SG would release compilation albums consisting of songs across all groups to include Babymetal, but also other songs that also featured Suzuka outside of Babymetal. Songs like
Hello, Ivy.
Or if you prefer,
So, in 2013, Suzuka graduates from SG. Under normal circumstances, that likely would have been the end of Babymetal for her.
Like any other subgroup in SG, normally it would have been a changing of hands, a new lead and new members. But this is not a normal circumstance, and there's nothing normal about Babymetal. See, allow me to back up again for just 1 second. Babymetal first performed under the SG umbrella on November 28, 2010, at the aptly named Cherry Blossom Festival. They performed the song Doki Doki Morning. Maybe you've heard it. That went well, but when they dropped the music video on YouTube the following year, it gave them their first real international exposure. And no one really knows exactly when. Maybe it was as early as Doki Doki Morning, maybe it wasn't until Ijeme Dame Zettai was released earlier in her graduation year of 2013, but somewhere along the way, Koba-metal and the powers that amuse decided that Babymetal was no longer a subgroup in Sakura Gakuin, but something that could become much bigger. So Sue-metal, along with her sisters Yui-Metal and Moa-metal, who were still a part of SG themselves at the time, continued on with Babymetal as a solo project. Babymetal was its own band now. SG officially became part of Babymetal's past, instead of an umbrella under which to operate. And Suzuka Nakamoto, now fully reborn as the queen of metal we know today, Sue-metal, was the literal messiah of the new age of metal, born from breaking down barriers between genres and not giving a fuck if people have a problem with that. The music was good, the performances were better, and nary exists in the world a person who has seen Babymetal live and has had anything to say except, best show ever. And from 2010 all the way until now, 15 years later, Sue-metal has become one of the most important faces to known metal music. An absolute icon in the industry across idol and metal music alike. An inspiration to anyone who knows anything about her. standing in direct defiance to anyone who falsely believes there's a way to say the phrase "not real metal" without sounding like an obtuse dickhead. But don't worry, while fans may get colorful with their defense, Sue-Metal will express her thoughts with the utmost respect every time. You cannot get this girl to be rude or mean. She is nice, even to her enemies.
Do you like the curry there?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't like spicy.
I know.
Sue-Metal will always take the high ground because it belongs to her. That's where her throne room sits, at the highest peak of the tallest mountain. If you seek to undermine her talent or her status as a metal icon, it is only because you have failed. But we can all learn from failure, and Sue-Metal is a generous god and will always be there to take you in once you find your way. Okay, let's do this one last time, yeah? For real this time. This is it. My name is Suzuka Nakamoto. I was divinely ordained by a radioactive fox god, and for like 15 years, I've been the one and only Sue-Metal. I think you know the rest. I finished my world tour, I sang with a bunch of people, got hit by a flag, did this with my sister, wrote some songs, finally, hid my microphone where Moa-metal is never gonna find it, and when I feel alone, like no one understands what I'm going through, I remember my friends who get it. I never thought I'd be able to do any of this stuff, but I can. Anyone can wear the mask. You can wear the mask. If you didn't know that before, I hope you do now. Because I'm Sue-Metal, and I am part of the one, but I'm not the only one. Not by a long shot. So, are you ready for the time-honored tradition of listing off fun facts that consist of a mixture of totally sourceable truths, mostly believed theories, and even some wild speculations that many fans have shared but only the Fox God really fucking knows?
That's my girl!
Sue-Metal has been said to have the habit of comparing songs to colors. If true, I have a question, Suzuka. What color is song 3? Also, if anyone finds out which songs she thinks are green, let me know so I can know what songs should be my favorite. Sue's favorite authors are Keigo Higashino and Jiro Akagawa, who primarily write mystery novels, which should not come as too much of a surprise, as if you have seen a lot of Babymetal interviews, Sue-Metal gives the impression of being incredibly analytical and speaks a lot. It's almost as if she has thought about the question long before ever having been asked it. And an alternate timeline exists, Detective Nakamoto Suzuka. Sue-Metal once said in an early interview that her favorite character series to collect was one called Susie's Zoo. Adorable, aren't they? This is truly a fun fact, but even more fun, if you're anything like me, is... Suzuka loves the character Stitch from Lilo & Stitch. She in fact collects Stitch plushies and wrist straps. This may have been from a time before Babymetal, but I refuse to believe that love for the character can never fade. In a 2015 interview, Sue-Metal remarked that metal music was something irreplaceable to her. But I think if you ask a lot of people today, 10 years later, Sue-Metal herself has become something just as irreplaceable as the genre itself. While young Sue-Metal spoke often of her first love, green tea, she has been known more recently to champion her love for ginger tea, which is likely for the best since caffeine can cause muscle stiffness and dry out your throat, whereas ginger tea effectively does the opposite, relaxing your muscles in the process. One might say Suzuka has always been just a bit too relaxed, because one story I sadly could not find the source for suggested that Suzuka prior to Babymetal was at a show with Karen Girls, about to perform for 25,000 fans. Her Karen Girl counterparts were nervous, requiring staff to help calm them. When it came time to go out on stage, they noticed something strange about Suzuka. She had, in fact, fallen asleep. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is just one possible testament to Sue-Metal's irrational self-confidence. 25,000 fans did not shake her nerves. Sue-Metal cannot tie her shoes. Seriously, I looked for video and photographic evidence and read through pages of fan blogs and could not find one credible source suggesting that anyone has ever witnessed Suzuka tying her shoes on her own. Not correctly, at least. When you think about it, this is not too crazy considering she has had staff waiting on her most of her life and there is plenty of footwear with no laces. Ever take a closer look at her boots compared to Moa and Momo's? But hey, to be fair, shoes should really tie themselves in Suzuka's presence out of respect. Suzuka speaks quite quickly in her native Japanese, as anyone who has heard her get excited in those interviews can attest. However, she has also developed her English so well that my cracked-ass calculations peg her somewhere around 100 words per minute in English, which is on the lower end of a native English speaker, though not as high as her 140 words per minute in Japanese. How did I calculate those numbers? Don't worry about that. Instead, worry about how you're going to get on Suzuka's multilingual level.
Feliz Día de los Muertos!
You may know that Babymetal collaborated with Jam Project for the new One Punch Man opening theme song, Get No Satisfied. What you probably don't know, however, is that back in August 2010, Suzuka wrote a diary entry about seeing Jam Project and them remembering her from Rondo Robe 2008. Suzuka loves her ears. She has referred to them in a 2010 questionnaire as a charm point and loves how big they are. Her words, not mine. Don't at me. She thinks they are big and loves that they are big, because big ears hear more things. In the same questionnaire, Suzuka noted white as her favorite color. It's hard to know if this holds true 15 years later, but she did write the lyrics to the song White Flame, for which she likely named the song as well. Speaking of writing songs, it was these two singers who motivated Suzuka to write down song ideas and to write her own lyrics. So thanks in part to them, Sue was inspired to write not only White Flame, but Divine Attack before it, and the Japanese portion of The End with Five Finger Death Punch also. Suzuka does not like frogs. She doesn't wish to touch them or interact with them. She commands that you remove the frog from her presence. Get it away. Suzuka wears pointy shoes. The term CD actually stands for Compact DeLorean. I know you may think that it actually stands for compact disc, but this is a common misconception. The D in CD has always actually stood for DeLorean. This doesn't have anything to do with Su-Metal. I don't know why you think it would. I just wanted to spread awareness of this misconception, in case you too were mistaken. Allegedly, Su-Metal has never applied her own makeup, but rather it is applied for her. This is supported by the fact that when you see her outside of costume, she is not wearing makeup. And in fact, Sue looks markedly different when outside wardrobe and makeup, as does Moa. But Momo ain't fooling anybody over here. Su-Metal has never cried, not once. However, Suzuka Nakamoto has indeed cried and has expressed that she does not in fact like crying. Not for any of the usual reasons, but because crying's not comfy, and Suzuka likes being comfy. As stated, Su-Metal was only in the heavy metal music club while at SG. However, she did once sing one of the other club's songs entitled Princess a la Mode, a song likely better suited for smaller individuals. Su-Metal has stated that she doesn't like spicy food, which makes perfect sense for a singer as there are tons of reasons to avoid spicy food to maintain a healthy voice and throat. More importantly is how she communicates her dislike though, because Suzuka will always give negative remarks with a smile. Whether she is telling you she doesn't like something or telling someone they are wrong about something, she can't help but break the tension with a smile, and sometimes with abrupt maniacal laughter. Suzuka has expressed favoritism for a number of metal bands, some of which include Metallica, Slipknot, and Sabaton. I read somewhere that she also likes symphonic metal, which makes me wonder if she has heard Metallica's S&M album with the Seattle Orchestra. You'll listen to that now. It's really good. Su-Metal always wears her hair in the high ponytail style, but this only began somewhere around 2014, and prior to that year, her hairstyle varied, as Babymetal was still finding their identity. These days, however, a simple silhouette is enough to tell Suzuka apart from those who share her stage. Speaking of staging, a combination of shoes, camera angles, stage positioning, hairstyle, costumes, posture, and editing often give the impression that Su-Metal is the tallest member of Babymetal. This is indeed, however, a trick. Though Su-Metal has grown a couple of inches since her debut, she is still shorter than Momo-Metal, despite the best efforts of her team to portray her as taller. This fact, however, does not stop Suzuka from reaching the top shelf to grab the book she wrote, entitled Okay, but Moa is still shorter. Su-Metal is the only Japanese singer to ever sing alongside metal legend Rob Halford, alongside Yui and Moa, of course. Take a look. See anything going on stage here that you don't think is real metal? If so, please turn in your metal card, leave your leather and chains with the receptionist, and be gone from the metal kingdom. We do fun metal things here. Su-Metal once got her flag stuck in the actual stage during a performance. So stuck, in fact, that staff had to assist removing the flag from its position. I don't know what's more terrifying, the fact that Su-Metal was strong enough to stab the stage, or the fact that that particular flag was never seen again. Su-Metal doesn't talk too much about what shows or movies she likes, but she did once specifically state that she liked Doraemon. I don't know much about it myself, but it does look cute, and that is very on brand. And our 28th fact for Su-Metal's 28th birthday is simply this. If you love Babymetal, you have to thank this lady right here, because we can talk about how awesome Moa, Yui, and Momo are. We can remark on the genius of Koba-Metal as an innovative thinker and manager, but at the end of the day, we all know one simple truth. This all started and ends with Su-Metal. If anything in Babymetal is truly irreplaceable, it is Suzuka Nakamoto. This party started with her, and thankfully for all of us, the party still feels like it just got started. Whew, that was a lot of facts. You guys are good, right? You don't need the poll data. I mean, that was 1,600 words worth of Su-Metal facts, man. We can end the video here. We're done.
Oh my Okay, let's just take a deep breath. Not the baby Jesus. No.
Okay, you know I'm fucking with you, let's go. Almost 300 people voted that they would pick boxing with Su-Metal as their exercise of choice. Just know that if you miss those gloves just once, you will have at least 3 million fans ready to sacrifice you to the Fox God. Out of 5,500 votes, Su-Metal was voted least likely to ever have been in a fistfight, which I agree with. Su-Metal does not seem likely to hit someone else, but she has nothing to fear once her enemies have been turned to stone. Similarly, Su was also voted least likely to wrestle a grizzly bear. Only 12% of voters chose 5'3" for Su-Metal's height, which is understandable if you trust Google, but if you search beyond the search engine, 5'3" seems like the most likely correct height these days. Thanks for nothing, internet. I know nothing for sure, and question things more than before I logged on. 56% of voters chose BMC as the best rap Babymetal has produced, with at least one Black Babymetal song losing in the same poll. We love Black Babymetal, but we all know who the real queen is. Apparently, few believe Su-Metal can outsmart the Joker in a battle of wits, which is a high bar to clear, to be fair, but more importantly, I do believe Heath Ledger would have been a Babymetal fan had he lived to see their debut. Of 2,700 votes, Su-Metal came in second place for most favorite interview moments from the fans. Do you think it's the laugh? I think it's the laugh.
Good choice for a start. That's a great.
In this poll regarding what took place during a 2012 interview, the most expected thing to happen of the choices was for Sue to make an inhuman noise. And she did. She did make an inhuman noise. It sounded like this. And finally, when given the choice between our favorite chatty interview version of Sue and our intimidating Queen Su-Metal, the Queen continues to win. You know what brought you here? Bow to the Queen, and pledge your allegiance to the Fox God Army of the One.
Merry Christmas, Team Rock!
Alright, so that's it. I'm sure Su-Metal appreciates you taking the time to honor her special day, as she always honors her fans right back. Of course, don't hesitate to leave comments concerning anything I may have gotten wrong or misstated. I am always learning and always willing to correct the record for the Queen in the East to be most accurately represented. Thank you all for your support. Thank you once again to Miss Yida for a beautiful thumbnail for this video, and a special thanks to everyone who submitted their fan art of Su-Metal for this project. The way I see it, these are not gifts to me. They are gifts to Suzuka, and perhaps, if I were to be so bold, I hope that she gets to see this video one day and those artworks and feel just a little bit more appreciated, especially on this 20th day of December. Guys, thanks for watching. Thank you for taking time for the most iconic metal singer of our lifetimes. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and in all of the things that you celebrate, just show some love this December. See ya.